but where is the essential repository of all this information that we need to go and track and log? And if we talk about the delivery, fantastic. They might know what they're doing for the delivery, but then when it comes into the handover and the evidence collection thereafter, it's like, where do we have to go and look for all of our data if the main contractor and the subcontractors have all used different platforms? So bringing people into a central source of truth in either one platform or creating that ecosystem of software, it's played a massive part within the sector.
One of the most crucial concepts within the construction industry at this moment in time is the golden thread approach, a comprehensive and transparent record-keeping method that spans a building's entire life cycle, from design to demolition, driven by the need for safety, compliance with regulations, and seamless communication amongst all stakeholders. The golden thread would not only ensure accurate and up-to-date information is accessible at every stage of a project, but it also empowers construction teams to make informed decisions swiftly and effectively. In this way, the golden thread plays a pivotal role in addressing the challenges faced by the construction industry, such as complex documentation and fragmented communications. Now, this is all well and good in theory. It's kind of a no-brainer. But the issues it looks to resolve are also the potential pitfalls of such a cohesive approach. A fragmented market, the majority of which are small businesses, means the application of a golden thread isn't as easy as just pressing a button. Some don't even have buttons to press. But this is no reason not to try. Try and improve the industry for the better. To find out if this is even possible or if it's just a golden dream, we need to chat to someone in the know. Rob Norton is a seasoned professional in the digital construction industry, currently serving as the UK director at PlanRadar, a leading platform for digital documentation, communication, and reporting in construction, facility management, and real estate projects. With over 5 years of experience at PlanRadar, Rob has been instrumental in streamlining construction processes through innovative digital solutions. Rob is dedicated to making both employees and employers' lives easier by leveraging technology to make construction more efficient. His diverse background, from wiring fire engines as an apprentice electrician to business development and sales in different sectors, has equipped him with a unique perspective on problem solving and efficiency in construction. His journey reflects a deep commitment to leveraging digital tools to transform and improve the construction landscape. And finally, if you're interested in reading more about the golden thread, which is going to be our main topic today, check out the ebook from PlanRadar, Digitize the Golden Thread in Fire Safety, or alternatively, book a demo and see how PlanRadar can assist you with processes and projects. The links, as always, are in the show notes. Finally, Rob, welcome to the podcast. And did I miss anything from that bio and intro?
No, brilliant. You went through everything, and thank you very much for having me here today, Peter.
Absolute pleasure. Fantastic. Well, let's get straight into it. And as I was saying, this is all about the golden thread. And for people that don't know, it refers to the creation of a continuous and comprehensive record of information throughout a building's life cycle, from design to construction and beyond. The approach ensures that all stakeholders have access to up-to-date and accurate information, enhancing safety, compliance, and efficiency. Makes it sound quite a simple thing to do, but with an industry that employs 3.1 million people, which is 1 out of 10 of the UK workforce, getting them all on the same page is almost an impossible task. So, Rob, over to you. What best practices do we need to establish and implement a golden thread in construction? Simple, right?
Yeah. Oh, we'll start off with the challenging questions first.
Yeah, start simple. Simple.
I mean, look, coming from the digital point of view, and working with a lot of customers when they sort of come to us, a lot of people might start off clueless, like, what is it? How do I do it at the end of the day? What do I sort of need to do? So if you're sort of going to tackle this challenge, it's good to work with someone that's got a bit of knowledge behind it in regards to sort of setting these accounts up. And, quite transparently, and I'll put my hands up, when we sort of came into this golden thread sort of era, we had to work with our customers to learn off of them and really study their processes as well, from the document management side through to the delivery as well. Regardless of being PlanRadar or a platform, there are a significant amount of platforms within the market now, especially around the document management, which is where this process starts, that can track and record all of your data and all of the amendments, which is obviously adhering to the golden thread of information. Yeah. So, upload your plans and drawings directly through to these systems. You can then use these tools to communicate and collaborate directly within the platform, and it's recording all of the comments. So that's providing you a nice audit trail from start to finish of who's making the comments. So was it Rob Norton? Was it Peter Sumpter making this comment? What was the date and time stamp? And because these systems have now specifically been built to this or are already pre-existing, it's automatically tracking and logging all of this information if you were to use them to enhance your output. But with that, instead of working on an offline Excel or a Word document, a PDF, or any of your pre-existing systems, at least now it's in one central source of truth, so a data repository, so to speak, that everybody can communicate and collaborate in, nice and easy, tracked and logged. And then if it was ever had to be pulled up in the future as an evidence collection for whatever case, you can instantly come back, review this data. Okay, these are why we made these changes, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. One thing, a bit of a side question really from that, is that you said that that there's the likes of PlanRadar and multiple different software and organizations out there, and being in the context space myself, you see loads of startups coming in and going, and more established players also having their own different kind of tech. There's clearly loads available, but doesn't that cause a problem in itself in terms of them all being cohesive and all having that collaborative approach where data is quite free flowing? Or isn't that so much of an issue now technology is advancing?
It's a really good question, and I think it's really changed the way that the construction market and the context sector has started operating and proceeding. Now, if you went back a few years ago, prior to the Golden Thread and Building Safety Act, you had a lot of the major players within the sector closing off their systems. They didn't want to integrate with anybody. They don't want any open APIs, and they were happy being at the top of their game at the end of the day. Fast forward, let's say 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it might be, or the 6 months since the aftermath, even the top players within the market have realized that they need to have some sort of open protocol to work with other companies to transfer the data. Also, the buzzword around this is going to be that interoperability of data from system to system, whether it be for an open API connection at the end of the day, which is the preferred methodology, or the capabilities of exporting that data, including if we're talking about the delivery of a project where we've got pins on plans and 3D BIM models. There's so many of us now that has this sort of technology. It's how do you transfer those pins, that data, from, let's say, PlanRadar to another pre-existing system, alternatively integrating with a client's CAFM system. And the market has really sort of changed and I think adapted to that. There's still some systems stuck in their way and never wanting to change because they will be the leaders of that market. But in my eyes, and I think the sector's eyes, if you continue to do that, there may not be a place for you in the future if you've got to record this data, because locking someone off for the rest of their life to having to use one system just doesn't make sense at the end of the day.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's move it on to talking about that collaboration and communication and enhancing it. According to the Get It Right initiative, the industry loses about 21 billion a year through errors that occur throughout the life cycle of a project. I mean, that's just outstanding. Modern digital tools are transforming the way construction teams communicate, ensuring that all stakeholders are aligned and have access to the latest information and data, what you were alluding to before. So this reduces potential for misunderstandings and enhances overall project performance. As the industry starts to embrace these innovations, which I think you noted and everybody has seen over recent years, it's crucial to understand how they can be effectively implemented. So it's okay to know about them, but we need to actually use them, right? And all know how to use them to maximize any form of benefit that they can provide. So in what ways can digital tools improve communication and collaboration in projects?
I think it's really about bringing everybody into that, one central source of truth, right? We sort of brushed upon it a minute ago with having all of these standalone systems, whereas now you can either connect the various systems together to talk to each other, to deliver plans and drawings from the back office and the document management system onto site. Alternatively, go for a suite or a platform that has an all-in-one. Once again, there's various ones on the system, so you can communicate and collaborate directly within the platform. Again, the reason that this is sort of highlighting or fixing, should I say, a lot of the issues on the market is there was so much disjointed information. You've got an email over here, a WhatsApp message there, a text message there. You're using a Procore, they're using an Autodesk, an A-Site, and all of these various platforms in the market. And it's like, well, where is this central repository of all this information that we need to go and track and log? And if we talk about the delivery, fantastic. They might know what they're doing for the delivery, but then when it comes into the handover and the evidence collection thereafter, it's like, where do we have to go and look for all of our data if the main contractor and the subcontractors have all used different platforms? So bringing people into a central source of truth in either one platform or creating that ecosystem of software, it's played a massive part within the sector. If there's a task, as an example, of the delivery of an element of the program, who's responsible for carrying out that work? It's Robert Norton, it's John Smith. Okay, what company does John or Robert work for? And you could instantly track and log that information. And then they're coming and providing you that real-time evidence as an example, evidence of completion of work as well. A good example around that communication would be looking at the Manchester Stadium as an example.
Okay.
So with the Manchester Stadium, they had significant contractors on the overall project. Obviously, you've got HVACs and things not fitted, installed correctly. You've got things folding down, and it's creating that responsibility of, well, who did it? I don't know. Nobody knows. Whereas if you were to put these systems in place to create that transparent data, it was Robert Norton from this company. It was John Smith that actually installed that HVAC that we're having issues with. And much to main contractors' appreciation, I'm sure they can go back and explore that and put in some charges here and there where they deem fit, so to speak.
One thing that baffles me a little bit is which almost comes first, or what is leading. So let me see if I can say this cohesively. So you've got the technology, which I don't think is a problem, and there's loads of it, and it's developing, getting better and better all the time. Then you've got the current market, which, as we know, is aging, maybe not so tech savvy. And then we've got a new group coming through, digital natives, understand technology a lot better, probably want to use it more than not, even in more traditional roles like brickwork, etc., etc. What's leading the market? Is it going to be the next generation that's coming through? Is it going to be the technology, or even another part of it is the legislation, or is it just a whole mixture of those things? And like we see in many different markets, and when new innovations and tech comes along, is it going to be what we have now is version 2, 3, 4, and then in the future it'll be version 5, 6. It'll look a bit different, but it'll be much better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes perfect sense. And at the end of the day, it's a great mixture of all of these. I think the new Building Safety Act and legislations have fast forwarded this process exponentially at the end of the day. People are looking to software to make their lives easier. And I know we talk about the sort of older generation as an example. It was pen and paper, it was paper plans and drawings. I think when they started to adopt the systems or look into technology, it was, I haven't had a problem before in my life. Why would I want to change? And that's across the board, sadly. But if you show people that there's a benefit to using a system, right? When they first probably brought out new tools on site, but there's a huge benefit to using this digital software, and these are what the benefits are. And let's be honest, if we're talking builders and bricklayers, it's what is that benefit going to be for them? If the digital platforms that you've got on site, it's having the latest plans and drawings in your hands at any given time, so that if there was a mistake or you're looking at an outdated piece of paper, you're not going to go get billed for it to fitting it to an outdated piece, set of plans and drawings. At the end of the day, you've got your latest plans in your hands at any given time. If you then start to look at what's the next step of that process? Let's talk about quality assurance as an example. Okay, once you've installed this and taken your photographs to highlight what evidence that you've done, you're putting in your ties as an example, you're putting in the insulation. Once you've done that and we've signed it off, we can go and trigger a payment to another platform. So now you're going to get paid on time or paid quicker. If you now start enticing in the subcontractors and the people carrying out that work into, these are the benefits, I can get paid quicker. All of a sudden it's, now I really see it. And, you mentioned the Get It Right initiative at the end of the day. It's making sure people have that right information in their hands at the right time and reducing the amount of rework and mistakes. And with the ever increasing cost of material, technology's here to sort of revolutionize that, or at least save a substantial amount of money and cost.
Yeah, for sure. So let's stick on that topic then. 85% of project managers run multiple projects at the same time, according to visualplanning.com. So manual snagging and documentation processes have long been a pain point in the construction industry, like we were just talking about there. And it can consume significant time and resource. And that kind of, when I think about that, you see images of a clipboard and a long, long list of to-dos, ticking them off as you go, if you like. So it seems an obvious question, this, but I'd just like to ask it anyway and see where it takes us. But how does automating snagging and documentation processes help construction teams save time and improve accuracy?
We'll go through the exact process, right?
Yeah.
If you're going out on site as a site manager would do, or a project manager, or whoever it might be, it's, as you highlighted, walking around with a piece of paper, a clipboard as such, and I've been told fag packets by many people, by the way. So taking their notes out on site, might take a photograph, then by the time they've got into the back office, they've got 100, 200, 300 items. That site manager or project manager, probably some of the most highest paid people in construction, and then spending 2, 3, 4 hours compiling a report just for defect tracking to then send through to their managers or the operations director or whoever needs to see this information. If that's happening on a weekly basis, we're now talking in hundreds of hours or well into the thousands of hours for site. Put that into a mobile platform. And again, they've also forgotten which photo corresponds to which defect on that site. You put that into a platform like a Plan Radar as an example. They walk around on site, they take a photo with their mobile phone, they log it, and they assign it to the person that's going to be responsible. Is it going to be an electrician? Is it the plumber? They don't know the exact person's name, which is sometimes the case. Then they can send it to the trade, and then a group of people can receive that to carry out that work. Again, that then creates you accountability of who's carrying out the work. They take a photograph when they've done it, and that's your resolution to either accept it or reject it or close it out. But I know from working with hundreds of companies across, and we started as a defect tracking platform, actually, we save on average 7 hours per week from using it on site for just that one process alone.
Yeah.
But when it comes to their handover in that latent defect period, the common case study that I'm sort of given is that we've handed our projects over with the least amount of defects or snags that we've ever had by using a system like FlagRadar, which again, a reduction in rework and going back and those additional costs.
And I suppose for some people, it's the proof's in using it, if you like, in using this technology and getting people to use it and showing the efficiencies and showing where the benefits are, which can be slightly tricky for some, but I feel with a new generation coming through that will need to come through, it's almost like a compliance thing, and you must use this type of technology to be part of this project, to be a subcontractor for us. It's almost should be written in contracts, really.
Yeah, and if you work with any of the major, the tier ones that have got a pre-existing system in place, almost all of them will dictate, right, we are using this for these kind of functionalities at the very least, right? A lot of them will be the QA processes and defect tracking. This is how we are recording data onto the site, because that's what they need to sort of hand over. And depending on who pays for the licenses, I know some might cover the cost, or you put it into your tender that these are the costs of the licenses that you're going to require on our projects. But again, that way you're getting that one central source of truth on site and that data, that overall hierarchy of data repositories, so to speak.
Nice. You mentioned one thing there, which was mobile technology, which I just want to move on to. So traditionally, construction teams have relied on paper-based documentation, clipboards, and face-to-face meetings, et cetera, as you were speaking about, and that whole kind of supply chain of individuals that need to know things, and it goes up and then back down again. And that can lead to a lot of delays and miscommunication, Chinese whispers, if you like. Mobile devices such as smartphones, tablets, provide construction professionals with instant access to project data, plans, communication tools, no matter where they are. Well, unless you're on 3, and then essentially you're screwed. Yet, as mobile technology continues to advance, its role in modern construction is set to expand, driving innovation, setting new standards for efficiency and collaboration. So how do we make this transition from hard copies to digital more of a seamless process? And this role in mobile technology, is it mission critical?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be mission critical. And again, if we talk about, let's say, the planet as an example, saving trees, how many millions of bits of paper are sat in site cabins that have never been looked at, and storage containers, a considerable amount, right? If you put anything onto your mobile devices, first of all, there's platforms in this market like FlagRadar that can take you completely paperless today. How do we get there? We've set people up from tier 1 contractors, house builders, a complete variety of subcontractors down to one-man bands. And I think the key focus here is if we are working with people that call themselves the self-proclaimed dinosaurs or technophobes, and you have to train them what is an Apple ID, that it is still all too common at the end of the day. It's don't run before you can walk. Really show the individuals that the simplicity and ease of use, that this is just where you see your plans and drawings today, and this is how you respond. And if we train people in a way of, if you're using FlagRadar and you're a subcontractor on site, it's the same process as responding to your wife after work or what's for dinner. She sends you a text message, a WhatsApp, it appears on your screen, and you press that tab, and it takes you directly through to that message to respond. And if you really simplify the process of these are the locations that you go, then it's a really smooth adoption and transition we found from paper onto a mobile platform. If we use that same individual, they go, right, here's your BIM model, here's your QA, this is where you do your health and safety, this is where you do fire safety, here's your permits on that same first training session. Mind blown, doesn't want to use the system, completely overwhelmed them. We've taken them, you've taken someone out of your comfort zone straight away. And you just got to know, like, right, how do we drip feed it? Where are we at? Who are we speaking to? And the adoption rate has really, made it very, very simple.
How long does that process take then? Say for an SME, their hard copies, maybe a bit of Excel, stuff like that. They say, right, okay, we need to go. We need to get involved in let's for simple terms. We need to go digital. I hate phrases like that, but let's just use it. We need to go digital. How long are we taking for that process to occur?
Great question. And it varies so much. I've seen people before I've even had a demonstration with them, but they've gone onto our website and downloaded a trial before we even got into a demonstration. They've got our platform set up with their own pre-existing forms and beat me to it. And it's like, what am I doing here? You figured this out. You might be able to show me something new in a minute. And then you've also got people that, I think you've got to look at it via a process more than, right, what does it take to go digital? Like defect tracking and receiving defects, seamless. It is 15 minutes, I think, of using a system. They can figure it out on all of our systems. It is a pin on a plan, and you're sort of assigning it to someone. If you're going into more of a detailed QA process or health and safety, again, you're talking a little bit more work, and you're talking, maybe an hour's worth of training and a couple of weeks to get into the real process and the automation and workflow. Fire safety, I think, is one of the quickest ones that we've noticed an incredible rate of adoption, because it's that pin on the plan, take a photograph and fill out a question set. And I think most customers are they're generally surprised at how quick their employees can adopt new technology. There's an initial fear factor, right? And that's like anything, right? There's an initial fear factor. They put it in front of them, 1 or 2 days of moaning, and then see the ease of use. And as long as it's simpler or quicker than what they were doing, then it's a no-brainer. And those, the dinosaurs or the people that were really against new software have actually then become the biggest advocates, because the question goes through their mind of, I've been doing it like this for years and it's slowed me down. Now I can get more work done or finish by 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock on a Friday to go to the pub, as an example. And that is genuinely how the mentality is on site, right?
Yeah, and that's the benefit, isn't it? Is from a business perspective, it's probably the last thing you want to hear is well, how can I finish early and how can I get to the pub, or how can I go home quicker? But from a tech adoption perspective, and from doing your work better, more efficiently, that's the benefit to some people. So, why not use that as your carrot, if you like? It's not for everybody, but it will work for some, and why not?
Yeah. And, you mentioned a moment ago as well, project manager, or I think you said 81% of all project managers manage more than one project at any given time. We haven't got clones yet. Elon Musk has not created duplicate robots at the end of the day. But if you've got systems in place that you can manage and review all of your projects in one central dashboard, you could be anywhere on any one of your projects or even in the world to sort of review the data and what's coming in. Are we on time? Are we behind? Again, for all processes on site, and not just the defect tracking or just the quality. It's now all feeding into those dashboards. And again, using platforms like Power BI to really discover that big data and discover trends across your projects. Because too much, how much time is spent after completion of a project are people spending to review what they've done? Or how do we learn from our best practices? And systems like this are tremendous in helping you, because you could plug AI in to automatically start identifying this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where we are now, and there's some challenges certainly, but there's I think the benefits outweigh any type of challenges. But let's look to the future. And according to a number of sources, IT projects the failure rate for IT projects range between 5 and 15%, with many of these failures threatening companies' existence, particularly for the smaller ones. The ways in which documentation and task management is now handled has been transformational for some, which is fantastic. And you can almost guarantee that in the future, there will be more innovative solutions that meet the needs of our construction practices now and again into the future. So just to finish, I'd just like to know your predictions or what you feel the future of documentation, task management, golden thread, and the digitization of construction is? I know that was a mouthful and a lot to take in there, but basically, where do you see your part of the industry going?
So again, really, really good question. I think you've hit, and it's going to look into one area realistically. It's the power of AI. It's scary to a lot of people, but it's going to make things a hell of a lot better once we really understand it and code it. If you talk about AI as an example around the document management of the golden thread and the Building Safety Act, there's tools already in the market or being built that can go and scan all of the documentation to make sure that you have got all of those requirements, all of those documents that you need for the Building Safety Act, and then present them to the Building Safety Regulator as an example, or the right information. Again, pulling that information out of those central platforms to be handed over to the client. I know that 50% of the building safety cases were rejected, so I can't imagine it being fine-tuned today.
Yeah.
But a couple of months, couple of years, this is going to be exceptional software, and it's going to save a tremendous amount of time throughout the project lifecycle. I know that with the future, where were 360 head cameras 6-7 years ago, right? The use of 360 head cameras on site is vast approaching. We see them on a countless amount of sites because it's quite a cost-effective tool. Now, you can use it for the evidence collection and project progression, which is obviously what a lot of people are doing now, but plugging in AI and identify where are we to the program? Where are we to our schedule of works? What's outstanding? And again, highlighting, who's responsible for carrying out work as such throughout the projects. I know that we're working with customers to sort of bring in health and safety, walking around with head cameras as an example, identifying this health and safety risks and flagging them up. Right, is everyone wearing the PPE? So then you're using head cameras and AI to create safer sites automatically, because you're better than me with your percentages, but I know there's a certain percent of the naked eye picks up issues, defects, and let's say PPE as an example, whereas an AI camera is something like 99.6% accuracy.
Okay.
So a quantum leap. And we're pretty much there. Think of where this is going to go with, again, I use Elon Musk as that lovely example. Is yes, we've got humans doing it today. I think in the next 5 years, you will have robots walking the site quite commonly. On some, let's just say some of the tier one sites for sure, but I don't think they're as big a cost as people are expecting.
Yeah, and it'll always come down, won't it? What is expensive today won't be in 5 years. Yeah, absolutely interesting. Well, maybe in 5 years you can come back on and we can talk about how you're utilizing robots to effectively manage the golden thread and documentation and information on site. How about that?
Well, it sounds like a plan to me.
Rob, thank you so much for imparting your knowledge. Really interesting stuff. Thank you so much for joining me today. Absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for having me today, Peter, and all the best.